Hey guys, this is FNS from Team Envy, and today I'm going to be showing you guys how to play Killjoy on defending Ascent, and hopefully this helps you guys with, any agent in general, but ideally on Killjoy. Alright, so getting into the CT side, or the defense side of Ascent, you mainly want to focus on extremity control. So an extremity would be like this part of the map, essentially. So at B, it would be B main. You want to make sure, since the barrier is starting out right here, you want to make sure you spend some utility, whether it be, like, for example, a turret. If you're Phoenix, maybe a Molly. If you're Sova, maybe a dart, something like that. You want to do your best to not give them control of this, because as you can see, there's obviously an orb here that the offense team is going to always fight for. The attackers are consistently going to go for this fight because having control of this area is super, super strong for the most part, in that you are denying info. So essentially the point of Valorant to begin with is to just, as defense, is to keep as much info as possible and be as deep into enemy territory as possible, and the attackers are trying to stop you from doing that. So almost always there's going to be a fight towards this B main area, whether they might throw an Omen Flash through the wall here. They might throw a Sage Slow over with like a dart off the wall, maybe a Raise Bot, something like that, right? But normally teams are going to fight this area. So the first thing you want to do, step one of playing the B bomb site, would be making sure that you spend some utility in the B main area. Don't let them have this for free because, again, it's just free territory that you're giving up that you shouldn't be giving up. Make the attackers use as much utility as possible to take this. Don't make it easy for them. A lot of the time, Cyphers will put a cam up here and stuff like that. Just make sure you break that. Make sure you make them think that you're playing in here no matter what. That's step one, almost always. What I do personally as Killjoy is I'll put a turret here, and sometimes if I feel like they're putting a lot of pressure on me, I'll just put I'll molly the spot, and if they go through, they get hit by my molly and my turret. So it just makes it really, really hard for them to actually kill me, or take this whole area to begin with. Once I have fought B main and I feel like my turret's done its job for the early round, I'm going to move my turret and I put it either in this area where it can see both market and B main, or I'll put it so it's safer. I'll put it here because then it can see people in middle and it can also see people in B main, right? So they can't, sometimes you can use your alarm bot in middle, but this lets me put my alarm bot elsewhere. So I'll sometimes put my turret here, and then if they're going cross middle, they'll be like, oh, there's no alarm bot, I can go through, and then the turret will shoot them. A lot of the times I even play off my turret and kill these people. Easy setups that you can run as Killjoy on this map are setups like this, where you put your alarm bot here, you put a molly around here. Obviously you want to put the molly inside so they don't see it when they're running in, and they don't hear it either. They don't hear it from here. So you want to make that really, really, really like as hidden as possible. And then your second molly around here, again, hidden. And then when they go through, when you pop both mollies, you get hit here, by the way, even if you're on top of the platform. So it makes it really hard for them to go up the lane. And as soon as they get hit, as soon as this alarm bot activates, you just pop both mollies, and it's really, really hard for the opponent to get out. And you just kind of get a free kill off of it. But yeah, that's mainly Killjoy. What I usually do, like my main setup on this map, is almost always figuring out, first of all, if we're playing for the bomb site mid-round or if we're playing for market mid-round. So, like I said, step one, B main control. Once you've lost that control, or the enemy has taken it back, or you just want to give it up to do something else, you go back and you figure out, okay, are we going to do a site setup, or are we going to do a market setup? If you're doing a market setup, you ideally are playing for the split, which is the middle to B split, all right? And if you're doing a site setup, then you're essentially playing to delay as long as possible before they can actually take the site, which means you're putting, say you're putting your turret like up here, you're putting an alarm bot around here, whatever, you put your mollies here and here. If your other agents, the same thing. The concept is you're playing in the bomb site, and it just makes it really, really hard for the opponent to kind of actually enter the bomb site mid to late round. The reason why this control it early is so important is because they'll use utility to take it back, and once they know you're not there, they've wasted utility essentially, right? Other than getting info. But taking the site in itself is also challenging, so if you're playing for the bomb site and you're playing setups like, if you're playing setups like this where you have a molly here, you have a turret up here, and you have like an alarm bot set up here, right? Like let's say you're doing something like this, and you have a molly there. As soon as your turret shoots, you can activate these mollies, and even if you're playing back with site, it's even easier, and you just peek off your stuff, right? So now they can't even take the site. And usually teams hit the site around, at the highest level, teams hit sites around like the 30, 40 second mark, if that, sometimes even later than that. So if you're able to delay long enough, usually they won't even have time to plant the bomb. As an anchor, my job is to play this way because it makes it a lot easier for my teammates to rotate in and help me as I'm delaying with all my utility. So on the A-bomb site, it's super, super simple for the most part. You want to make sure that your utility usage is super strong if you're on Killjoy or any other agent. But like I said, same thing goes with A that I explained at B. So the same thing that happened at B, you can just do at A, where you fight for the extremity, which is right here, right? You're fighting for this orb. The ways you can fight for this orb, sometimes you can put a turret here, but I usually don't waste my turret like that. I'll usually put my turret in a place where they won't easily be able to break it. So I almost put it in the same spot every time. So I'll put it like here, for example. So if they come up cat or A main, they get shot by it mid to late round. But at the start of the round, what I try to do is molly off this wall. That's just really annoying for them to cross because the barrier starts around right here. So the second barrier goes down, they're gonna peek you, right? So I'm usually throwing a molly here, and then I have a teammate, usually my Astra would be sucking here, and then smoking this, right? So we have control of A main right from the start of the round. Again, you're just making the enemy use as much utility as possible. So using one molly doesn't hurt you that much, as long as you have a second molly in sight somewhere. Sometimes I don't always do this, like I don't always fight for B main control as Killjoy or A main control as Killjoy, but when I do, this is what I normally do, where I molly this spot and I have teammates throw utility here. Once this is done and I've kind of taken control of this whole area and I know it's quiet, I'll go back into a passive setup where I'll usually have my alarm bot either on cat or A main. If I'm playing for A site, I'll have my alarm bot usually right here, because when people come out of A main, they almost always scale this way to close the door, right? The only person that will scale like right usually will be a jet, and he'll dash in. That's usually how it goes. But for the most part, you'll get a dart usually. A normal execute consists of a dart, maybe a jet dashing in, and then everyone else running this way. So you want your alarm bot here. Another reason you want your alarm bot here is that it also gets the cat people. So what I normally do is, you see this little green patch, I'll put my molly there. And the second my alarm bot is activated, say I'm playing under balcony, again, my turret's there by the way, so I always get an early warning of when people are running in, up cat or whatever. And so I have like a 5-second warning no matter what. And if they're executing on me, I play as safe as possible, especially if I'm alone. And I'll use my molly off my alarm bot. I'll pop it as soon as my alarm bot's activated, and usually gets this whole area, which makes them jump up to here, which helps me get a kind of a free kill on these guys. So the second my molly activates, I peek, I get a free kill, and then I just delay for as long as possible. Usually I go 1 for 1 or 2 for 1 here. If I have a teammate gen, we usually hold the site. So another spot I could play off of that setup is up here, and the second my alarm bot's activated, I peek. So that's how I usually play the A-bomb site. Another setup I do at A-bomb site is usually like something like this, if I feel like they're gonna hit A no matter what, and then I do this setup right here, and then I play either heaven or I play for catwalk specifically, and as soon as they're coming in, I molly these two off, delay them, make this guy come up cat, and then kill the guy catwalk. And when I do this setup, since I have my alarm bot here, I'll usually put my turret like around here. And that makes it so my alarm bot will activate no matter what, right? So I don't need my turret there as well. I'll put my turret near me and play off of it. So that's another setup that you can do. But again, it's the same concept as when you're playing the B-bomb site on Ascent. You either pick to play for catwalk or you pick to play for A. If you're picking to play for A, you want to do site setups. For example, 1 generator, 1 up here, and then what you do is you guys play off of each other, and you play off like util that you have. It doesn't matter what agents you are. You just want to make sure that you're playing off utility that you have. Ideally, you have like set anchors, for example, controllers or sentinels in these bomb sites if you're trying to hold them, but it doesn't really matter as long as you have a good setup. So one setup that you can do, for example, is 1 generator, 1 maybe hiding in that spot right there. We call it shroud or under shroud, and then another player in heaven. That's like kind of rotating between cat and heaven. Because I have my turret here that's shooting them cat when they come up, it makes it a lot easier for my teammates to give cat up and help A. And that when my turret shoots, they know that, you know, they basically cannot be around this area because my turret will shoot them before they get up there. So it allows my A rotator to help A bomb site. So one heaven, one here, maybe one here, and then you just hold the site. If you're playing for catwalk, however, it's a little bit more complicated because you are essentially in like a really tight choke point. So one thing you can do on catwalk a lot of the times is, or what I try to do is, I put my utility like deeper on catwalk sometimes if I want early information, and then I'll put my Molotov right here. And the second my alarm bot activates, I'll just molly them off. Especially, again, this helps when teams are droning up catwalk and having players follow it, right? Because when that happens, teams will usually smoke this off. A drone will come all the way up and clear all of this. Usually there's a player following that drone, right? So the second you have a molly here, or sorry, if you have a molly like deeper here and you hear the drone, say if the drone is like coming up and I hear it right here, I'll have my turret like off angle really hard, like right here, and I'll be here. I hear the drone, the second I hear the drone and my alarm bot activates, I just molly that. The guy can't push through anymore behind the drone. I kill the drone for free and I just jump away. And now their biggest piece of utility, which is usually the Sova drone, is kind of gone. You know, they don't have it anymore. And I've kind of stopped them from coming up cat. But setups you can do, like I said, are you play full retake. You can play one guy here. You have, like I said, alarm bot right around here. And you play another guy here that's ready to play, like they're ready to shoot off of you. So as soon as my alarm bot shoots, I'll usually have like a Molotov around here that they can't see. And as soon as my turret shoots, I molly them off. They're delayed, super long time. And then I just kill them when they're coming up, like up catwalk. And then usually I'll have a teammate here, like if it's a Sova or something, he'll be shocking them. If it's like a Phoenix, he'll molly that, etc. And we just delay for as long as possible, which will make the A main guys come out, activate my alarm bot, and if I have a guy in A site, he can peek off the alarm bot, off heaven or something, and kill them. So again, step one is almost always fight for extremities, and then step two is figure out what setup you want to go into. If it's a cat setup, you know, you play for cat and you don't stray away from that setup, ideally. And if you're playing for A, you can just play the site and don't stray, again, don't move around between cat and A bomb site. Pick one and sit on that setup. There are obviously cases where you're gonna have to push sometimes. If you get information that there's 3B or something and there's like only 4 alive, maybe you wanna push A main, you can do things like that. But this is just like in a general default position you wanna play. This is how you normally want to play it. One other tip I would like to give is when you start the round and as soon as the barriers go down, you want to have a player come here, open, or usually there'll be 5-second time limit after the barriers go down where you have to wait for the switch before it activates. But after 5 seconds, you want to toggle the switch and you want to break the door. This makes it so when the A bomb site is taken, especially when you're playing a retake, they can't close the door on you. And you don't have to waste utility breaking it, and almost always you can spam people running through the smoke, So it makes it really, really easy to retake the bomb site, essentially, because they don't have a door to close. So almost always try to close that door, especially when you're playing retake, but you should do it every round so it's not obvious when you're playing retake and when you're not. One other thing I think I should mention is another tip is playing really aggressive on catwalk, because these off angles are really frustrating for people and very hard to kill. So angles like this, for example, are really good because when a player is walking up catwalk and he's doing something like this, for example, it makes it really, really, really hard for them to like clear this and this. So most players are looking right here, which makes it easier for you to kill them if you're like right there off-angled. So you want to play off-angled like around these areas, ideally. Another thing you can play is obviously like right here, because you can see them walking into mid, but this one's like kind of obvious now. And then you can also do a bait setup where you have a player ready to peek off you here. So the second you shoot, a player peeks and you guys get that kill. So you can do aggressive cat setups like that. And the same thing goes for A main. You can do aggressive A main setups where you have a guy like right here. As soon as this guy shoots, maybe you have a Phoenix right here get ready to flash, and then you just peek and kill them, stuff like that. The point of these aggressive setups at A is mainly for the info aspect of it, right? You play as aggressive as possible, so when there's noise elsewhere, you can push easily and get info and be like, oh, okay, there's nobody on catwalk, chances are there probably be, which helps with over rotations and stuff like that. Another big thing that you want to make sure you account for if you're the A rotator, so you're not the B player or the A player, you're usually the mid player, you want to make sure that you are set up where the opponent is going, right? You want to be rotated to where the opponent is going. That means you want to get info a lot. And that's why it helps when you're fighting for extremities or you're fighting aggressively is you have the information that's required. So if you have teammates in B main, you don't have to play doing jump spotting or anything like that, right? You can play on catwalk and not have to worry about fast rotating. So a lot of the times, you can overstack bomb sites with extra info and stuff like that. So ideally, you have like your Sova do this, because when your Sova is able to like drone over and then clear all this, it makes it really, really easy for your A and B players, your anchors, to not only have the info, but know how to react properly off the info. And info is everything in this game, right? So you want to make sure that you want to have all your players positioned correctly. So ideally, in a normal comp, you'll have like Sova in middle. You'll have like Killjoy and maybe like, I don't know, Raze play B. And then you'll have, I don't know, like Jet and Astra play A. And then that way you have like Smokes at A, so he can anchor A as Astra, and Killjoy can anchor B. All right, guys, well, that was it for my defense Ascent tutorial. Hopefully you guys gained something out of that. Mainly it was Killjoy, but at the same time, it's a really, really underplayed agent for the most part, I feel like, and a lot of people make a lot of mistakes on that agent as well. So hopefully these tips and tricks actually help you guys out. If you guys haven't already, please like and subscribe, and if you have any questions, comment down below.